This should be fun. What the fuck? That's hilarious. Hey, what's crack-a-lackin', ladies and gents, boys and girls? It is your host with the most, the voice of resistance, the embodiment of persistence, the one and only Metal Fingers. Hope we're all doing well today, guys. Hope we're all doing well. Just came in to show you the interesting conclusion, sort of wrap-up to our PD2 Season 12. Yeah, I wanted to mess around on the Sorceress. This is only my second season playing, so I wanted to jump on a Sorc and do a bit of bossing. So I decided today was the day, and I ran 30 Hellfire torches back to back, which was it was pretty fun actually. I've never really done anything like that before, so it was cool. But yeah, jump in, get yourself situated, get yourself something hot, something cold, something to sip on, you know, get settled in and check it out. So we'll have a bit of a look at a run here. I'm just going to narrate us through one of our Uber runs here and sort of try and walk you through the process and things like that and let you know my thoughts and feelings. Or if there's a bit of strange movement in the background there. There's a creepy looking dude behind me. BO, chilling armor, and away we go. Have to find the big bug. That can be a bit of a pain to hunt down sometimes. It does make me miss the Diablo 2 Resurrected, you know, where he's 99.9% of the time he's right on the waypoint, right? It's a little trickier to find him in Diablo 2 Resurrected. Typically not too much trouble being a big blue model. Usually is pretty easy to spot. As you can see with the Mercenary tanking for us, the DPS that we're dealing with the Ice Blasts and the Blizzards is absolutely insane. He melts pretty quick, and thankfully we built our Mercenary for survivability, so we don't rely so much on the leech. It doesn't really matter too much whether he's actually hitting Duriel or not. He's able to tank Duriel quite well. And Furnace of Pain next. I typically do Lilith last. I'm not really sure why. I just prefer doing her last. The spookiest. I don't know. Personal preference. Cleaning up some mobs in here, hoping to get super lucky and find a burrow. That's about it. There's not really much more to it than that. Cleaning up some fodder demons. Nothing super exciting though. Not unfortunately. But hey, you gotta be in it to win it. Big density with a Might Aura, which is a little spooky. Definitely less than ideal. Izzy can hit quite hard. I'll get rid of the Might Aura before we engage. Like I'm fluffing about a bit here. Also amped as well, which is a little spooky. Got the skill shrine though, which is nice. The Merc handle him because he's cold immune. Double juice always good. I love that grape drink. I tellied over as Izzy tellied over. The old switcheroo. It'll get you. And again, just sit in the back, let the Mercenary tank the DPS, and just spam Blizzards and Ice Bolts. Nice and easy. Collect the brain and onto Lilith. It's a good thing to have that brain too. It's got lots of wrinkles on it, which is really nice for me, because like, my brain's a little smooth. Ditch the gems and into the Matron's Den. This is another problem I have with Lilith, both in PD2 and D2R. Finding Lilith can be quite tricky. And teleporting through Matron's Den is definitely not ideal. Sirens, so we're instantly amped. We've got Dark Lances, which do massive amounts of physical damage. There's typically auras through here everywhere. You've got archers, you've got hell temptresses. It's just a really, really spicy area. The less time you spend having to telly through the Matron's Den, the better your survivability is going to be. Mercenary took a big whack there, but thankfully, still alive. That's where all that flat damage reduction comes in. This helps take the top off that really, really nasty damage she's dealing. Yeah, that's it. Mini Ubers are done. You can just skip forward a bit here and go look at Uber Tristram. The trick with Uber Tristram is to split them, specifically Mephisto and Bale. You do not want to fight at the same time. So Mephisto's Conviction Aura works a little bit different in PD2. It's only minus 50 instead of minus 125, like in LOD or D2R. The difference being, Bale in PD2 casts lower resistance, which lowers your resistances by 75, including your poison res. Important to remember, Conviction does not lower your poison res, it's only your Ellie res. So you do not want to be fighting Mephisto and Bale at the same time. You want 150 cold res for Bale, and you want 125 light res for Mephisto. And yeah, you want to split those two specifically. Diablo also, his Firestorm hits kind of hard. As you can see, I'm just trying to pull Bale here from Diablo, so I don't end up engaging both at the same time. Obviously with the clone here. That is not the clone, that is the real one. I'm just doing insane amounts of damage, as you can see. I got confused there, I thought it was the clone, and then switched and targeted the wrong one. But yeah. Nice and easy, and then Big D, my favorite. You can see the DPS. This is not sped up. That's just the DPS. This thing is insane. I was testing this during the closed beta, and if you ask me, Blizzard trumps Meteor now. I did a bit of bossing on a Meteor Sorceress last season, and it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but I do feel like Blizzard edges out. The way that the changes to Blizzard work, the damage on the bigger models, because it's a little AoE explosion at the point where the Blizzard shard impacts the ground, with the bigger monster models, you actually get damage overlap from the area of effect DPS, and against the bigger models, the Mini Ubers and Uber Tristram, the DPS is absolutely insane. And when you combine that with the Ice Bolt, when Blizzard's on cooldown, and then the Mercenary in the front with the Conviction Aura, the damage just absolutely skyrockets. It's really, really nice. And another thing I like about Blizzard compared to Meteor is you can use Blizzard like a bit of a zoning tool. So if you've got mobs, say you're fighting Isawal and a mob comes off the screen, or Lilith for example, and a bunch of witches fly in from a doorway or something like that, you can drop a Blizzard and zone those monsters out while still focusing on the boss, whereas Meteor, you don't have that option. It's sort of a cast, you're just spamming Meteor a lot more. And despite the fact that Blizzard's cooldown is kind of short in PD2, you can still utilize it like a zoning tool. It's really important that your cold resistance is at 150. And it's also really important against Mephisto that your light resistance is at 125. Also got the 105 FCR breakpoint, which is really, really nice, and 86 FHR. You don't need 86, you can get away with 60, but being overcapped just keeps us extra safe. Alright, so looking over our gear, it's all fairly straightforward. I've got the character sheet there up on the side just in case you need it for reference. But we're using Trang's gloves with an FCR slam. We're using BK Deathband for the physical damage reduction. We're using FCR slammed FCR ring. We're using an FCR slammed Maras. And for a belt, we're using Max Res Slam Dongos. For boots, we're using Water Walks with an All Res Slam. There's definitely better options for the slam on that one. I've got a 3-socket Gurks with 2 Eld runes and a minus requirements All Res Jewel, just to help bring the strength requirement down. Otherwise, it's 133 strength, and the next highest item I've got is 111. It's a lot of extra strength, 22 points. I'd much rather have those points in vitality, so I use the minus requirements jewel with a bit of with the all res, just for a bit of extra resistances. Then for the helm, it's just a 220 rare circlet with 2 sockets, one of which I put a Thol rune in for a bit of extra cold res, just for Bale. And the other one is just a P Ruby for a bit of extra life. The dex is really nice though, that helps with our max block chance. And the light res is also a nice slam because it helps with Mephisto. And for our weapon, I'm using a 3-socket Death's Fathom just with some trash facets. G-Bane for the armor with a Thol rune, again just for the extra cold res to help against Uber Bale. Then on Switch, 6 BO CTA and then just a +2 lidless. The slam's kind of irrelevant. Looking at our inventory, cold skillers with life, and then we've got 3 FHR skillers. But yeah, like realistically, you could replace 2 of those with cold skillers with life. For our torch, just a trashy Sorc torch. For a large charm, I've got a 6 FCR with life on it, just to make sure I'm hitting that 105 FCR breakpoint. And I've got my Annie. I was using that for leveling, just for the 10% experience roll. There's definitely better options. I do have a better bossing Annie in here. Use something like that would be amazing. And for our small charms, just small res with some other mods on there. You know, some lightning damage, it's kind of irrelevant. It's just a plain one. The dex is actually really nice though. 2 points of dex works out to be 1% block chance. So if you don't have life or res charms, dex is a good option. And then just some assorted res life charms just to help fix up our resistances. This is where things get interesting. I was doing some testing with some different gear setups and I learned some things. One of the things that I learned is that stacking max poison res doesn't seem to help your merc's survivability as much as your flat damage reduction does. This is where I have the biggest problem with my mercenary survivability, is against Lilith. What I found was, I tested a few different setups. This is my just mapping setup. This is what I usually run. I run crafted, safety crafted armor, IAS slam string of ears, ED slam lava gouts, infinity, Marowalks for the CBF, and an F Andes. What I discovered was, during my testing, I tried these boots for the max poison res, hoping that the max poison resistance would increase my mercenary survivability. It didn't. It just didn't. It didn't really feel like it made any difference whatsoever. So, I decided to switch things up and go with a classic. This is a very old school combo. The Gladiator's Bane with the Vamp Gaze. It's unfortunate that thing has a CBF slam, but the rolls are really nice, so I just decided to use it anyway. But yeah, the Umrunes was just to stack the All-Res against Mephisto and Bale in Uber Tristram. But the main reason I decided to go with these was the massive amount of flat damage reduction it gave me. That made a huge difference against Lilith. Look, it's still spicy, but it's much better. My mercenary isn't there to do damage, he's only there to tank for me. It's just so I can sit there and spam Blizzard and Ice Bolts without having to mess around. So all we're worried about is survivability. So as much damage reduction as we could possibly get, and then, because my FHR breakpoint was basically non-existent, I decided to go with Shadow Dancers. These boots have the most FHR you can get on a pair of boots, 30 fast hit recovery, amazing. Not to mention curse resistance. The curse resistance is really, really good, again against Lilith in the Matron's Den, because 9 times out of 10 you're amped, right? So just taking the top off that amp damage and the amount of DPS that your mercenary is soaking really, really helps. So yeah, that curse resistance with the FHR is really freaking nice. And I found that this combination was kind of the best for my mercenary survivability. I'm sure there's room for improvement there, you know, obviously get better slams than the Vamp Gaze and the Shadow Dancers. But this works really, really well. It's a really solid setup. Alright, looking at our skills, it's all pretty straightforward stuff. 1 point telekinesis, 1 point teleport. Then we've got 1 point cold enchant, 1 point shiver armor, prerequisites for chilling armor. I think I've got 14 points in there at the moment. 15, something like that. Basically, that's where all my extra points are going into at this point, is chilling armor. I think you can make an argument that maybe you could put them into teleport as well. A bit of a personal preference there, I guess. I went with chilling armor just for the safety, being on hardcore. If I die, I die, right? So I'd rather be on the side of caution, so I decided to go with chilling armor. But I think you could probably make an argument for teleport as well. Alright, DPS. We max Ice Bolt, we max Ice Blast, we put 1 point into Frost Nova and Glacial Spike as prerequisites for Blizzard, then we max Blizzard, and we max Cold Mastery. Enough strength to equip all our gear. Dex, it's entirely optional, it's up to you. And then dump all your remaining points into Vitality. Standard Diablo 2 stuff. Nothing super complicated there, but yeah, like I said, you could adjust your vitality and your dexterity values based on your own personal preference. I do think that there's a bit of preference in there, but yeah, that's basically what I aim for, is around 33% chance to block and 1600 life. It starts to feel nice and safe. That's basically the playstyle, that's the strategy, and in between that, basically just keep an eye on your positioning, the enemy's positioning, and your mercenary's health bar is basically the most important thing. Try and keep the mercenary alive and tanking for you, and I promise you those bosses will melt. Tallying up our 30 torches, actually 31 here, but I'll get to that. But tallying up our torches, we got 4 Amazon torches. We got 5 assassin torches. We got 4 barb torches, 4 druid torches, 5 necro torches, 2 paladin torches, and 6 sorc torches, which I was chasing a sorcerer's torch, so to get 6 to choose from is very, very nice. And as for our 31st torch, someone fucked up and ID'd it, so I went and ran another 3x3 key set just so I could farm another torch, because I wanted to ID 30 all at once. It was pretty cool watching them all change from large charms into torches there. So yeah, but go have a bit of a breeze over them. I can have a bit of a look, you know, just you can check out the stats on them. There wasn't really a whole lot of like amazing GG torches, to be honest. A lot of them are just garbage like that, you know. I mean, that looks like ashes, right? That's just ashes, you know. But we did do alright on the barbarian torch, though. I did get a pretty nice barb torch. There's that one, which isn't too bad. Kind of meh. That one's kind of meh, but that one is pretty nice. That's probably the best torch of the lot. The rest of them were a bit average. Except for the sorc torch that I'm going to use. Yeah. 2 druid torches. Necro torches. There was 1 necro torch in here that was decent. That one's not bad. But, yeah. Could be better. Like that. Ugh, pretty rough. That one's okay, though. And then yeah, more torches. And then I was tossing up whether I use this one or that one. Like the extra 4 Vite or the extra 2 auras. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. If you enjoy this sort of thing, feel free to like and subscribe. I'm hoping to share plenty of PD2 content in the upcoming seasons. I definitely appreciate the support. My YouTube is certainly a work in progress. Yeah. Thanks to everyone for stopping by. I definitely appreciate it. Feel free to leave your thoughts and feelings in the comments section down below. I stream 5 days a week on Twitch. You can usually find me live there. I'll leave a link in the description down below. But till next time, guys, take care and much love. Peace out. Mwah.